Hello and welcome everyone to the latest edition of This Racing Life. We're coming to you from Gowran Park in County Kilkenny, home of the Goffs Estes Chase. Here's what's coming up in this week's show.
It's lovely for us to win with a smaller trainer at least, you know, and when I won it I thought, you know, nothing could have been better.
Gowran is, for us, it's a fantastic resource to have on our doorstep. We've been sponsoring in Gowran Park for 39 years. I think we're one of the longest sponsors in the Irish game.
Third Thursday is set in stone in Kilkenny in the racing field, and it has been that day. And you know, we daren't change that date because it's people just book it year to year and say yes, we're going to Gowran on the third Thursday every year.
Gowran touches maybe 4 or 5 counties, and they all seem to come and support Gowran in general, but this day especially. So it's very pleasing to ride a winner and to get a round of applause coming into the parade ring. He nearly got a round of applause leaving the parade ring as well. So, you know, and that's the beauty of National Hunt Racing. You know, we should be very proud of it as a country, really.
It's got the welcome of a small track and the pizzazz and presence of a big track, if you see what I mean.
On the banks of the River Barrow in County Carlow, the rural hamlet of Loughlin Bridge and its surrounding area is home to many involved in the Irish racing and bloodstock industry, including trainer Pat Fahy, who has been sending out a steady stream of prolific winners from his Ellen Lodge stables for almost 30 years. Pat, we really are in the heart of racing country here. Willie Mullins is only up the road. A lot of the Mullins train around here, Tom and Tony as well. Jim Bulger's not too far away. Emmett, you mentioned there. What's it like? Is there a good kind of camaraderie between you all?
Yeah.
Albeit a bit of rivalry, I'm sure too.
Well, there's very little, you know, Willie's the king and the rest of us are trotting behind him, but you know, he's very good to give advice if you need it. If you ask Willie anything, he'd help you out, and so would Jackie. It's great. It's great to see a lot of them from Jim Bulger's and Willie's and all around. You know, it's very important for Loughlin Bridge because every time you go to the Mrs. Curran's, they're there getting petrol, and you know, it's massive for the economy in Loughlin Bridge. All the apartments are taken up. It's amazing here because we were on the motorway in less than 10 minutes. We're in the Curran in less than an hour. We're in Naas in less than an hour. Punchestown, Leopardstown is a doddle just up the motorway. You know, it's motorway all the way to Belfast, or motorway all the way to Downryle. We don't come off it once we get on there. It's the best area I suppose you could be in, really. And we have all the training facilities of the Curran. I'm lucky enough that Pat Kelly looks after the Curran Gallops. He rode new after me when he won his point to point over in Ballin, and he used to ride as an amateur for me. And you know, I couldn't be happier with the people I'm involved with, and having the Curran so close, and all the top tracks very close. Gowran down the road, you know, sure, it's not 10 minutes away. So Carlow's very central, Loughlin Bridge is very central, and I think Loughlin Bridge is becoming the hub of training in this area. You know, it all is happening in Loughlin Bridge.
And what about staff, Pat? Stable staff is a hot topic in racing at the moment. How do you find it in terms of getting people on board and getting them to stick with you?
You know, I find that the girls are nearly, you know, they're really stepping up now, and I suppose Rachel Blockmore is big help there. But you know, there's a lot of girls in the game now, and that they're very good riders, and they're great workers and very loyal. And the lads, it's getting harder, there's no doubt, but you know, you just have to get people that want to be at horses. They know that they can have any job they want. They know they can be whatever they want. If you know, they're bright, intelligent people, but they just love horses. And these are the people you want in your yard if you can. And I'm lucky enough with the staff I have now. I'm very happy. So I can't complain that much on that front either. You know, we treat them well. We think they start at 8, they finish at 5. They have their tea breaks, they have their lunch breaks. The showers, hot showers if they get cold or anything like that. And if you treat them well, I think it spreads around and it makes it that bit easier. But it's still
a challenge.
It's still a challenge.
It's a big anniversary for you this year. 25 years since Nuaf won the Estes for you in the early stages of your training career. How big a deal was that at the time?
It was massive. It was massive. Like John Doyle, the owner, was a very young man. I was only after starting to train, and we were a young team. And to get it so early in my training career was hard to believe, really. You know. And I remember that time Newaf got sore shins, and I went to the Curragh to Michael Cannan's place. He had a big swimming pool, or Tommy, and we got him ready there. Like, he didn't do much cantering, and he swam. So we had to change our tactics, but we got the job done.
And people often say when they win a big race like that sometimes they don't appreciate it enough at the time. Looking back, I mean, did you celebrate it to the full? I'm sure you did.
We did, yeah. We celebrated. I think they said we were the first team that won it that didn't leave Gowran Park. We stayed in Gowran Park. We couldn't get any further. And you know, he won a Tri-Town, he won a Thyestes, he won the Red Mills Trial Chase. He was second in more Grade 1s. You know, he was some horse. You know, he'd pull out every day. He was a real warrior. I'd love to get him again. I'd love to get Newaf back again.
Please God, you'll have Thyestes horse, maybe not this year, but maybe further down the line. I guess that's what you're always looking for, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you see, with with a Thyestes horse, a young Thyestes horse, you know, you have a Grand National horse, and you know, you have that sort of a future. So it'd be lovely to have them sort of horses coming along, and you know, we'll just have to stay trying.
Very much so. And Pat, I know you've gone on record several times saying that the recession made life very, very tough for you. Was there ever a time you thought maybe you could even have to pack it in?
Well, we'll see. When Ronan got killed here, that destroyed me. Ronan Lawler got killed, and that destroyed everything here. The banks moved in on us. You know, it was an extremely tough time, and I'd say once we get through that, they're saying it's tough now, but to come out of where we were, you know, owners left, you know, best of owners left. There was about 12 horses in the yard, and you know, but it's funny, you know, when things go bad, there's certain people that will knuckle down and say, right, we're going to send back horses to you, and that's what Steve Parkin done. George Moore's a heap come back and say, right, you went through a bad time, we're going to support you, and that's how we got back.
And happily you're in there pitching with some good ones again, and you mentioned Steve Parkin there and George Moore, both of them involved with a couple of nice horses here. We've seen them this morning, Castlegrace Paddy and Dunvegan. Yeah, they've already done very well this season, haven't they? Yeah, you know, I'm very lucky with Steve and George Turner as well. He is a share in Dunvegan, and you know the one horse that I really enjoy having the crack with. Even if they weren't good horse, I'd be still having a laugh with them. But it was just very lucky owners, you know. And but I have great owners from the west. I have owners from Cork. I have owners from the north. I have like, if I went down to the pub, I would have no one to talk to. But you know, because all my friends are all over Ireland, and so that's sort of the way as it is. Castlegrace Paddy was so impressive in the Hilly Way Chase at Cork. I know Greatfield fell early and made life a bit more straightforward, but he couldn't have done any more on the day. What have you made of his run since then? Well, you see, total different ground. You know, I was just looking at form last night. I seen Robin DiCarlo had pulled up that day, couldn't go on the ground, so that shows you how soft it was. And Castlegrace Paddy just loved it, cruised through it, destroyed everything. Paul Townend said he put them asleep turning in. He kicked and had nothing, and he just done it easy. Now you go back to Leopardstown, ground that was just barely safe, like it was safe, there was plenty of moisture in it, but very quick, and he just wasn't letting himself down on it to that extent, and he's only beaten 5 lengths by footpad. Now we're beating 25 lengths or more in Punchestown, so we've narrowed that down. So with a change of ground, and we can keep close to footpad, I'd be happy. You know, you don't know after that a jump or a little mistake by another horse. You know, you can make up that sort of ground. And what would be the plan for him now, Pat? I'm sure you'd love to get to Cheltenham, maybe a run in between at the Dublin Racing Festival if the ground is right. Yeah, if the ground is right, that's where we're going. We're going to there and hopefully to the rugby afterwards. So that's going to be. It's going to be a long day. I tell you, if I have to go up and water the track myself, it's going to be safe. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And Steve and George are coming back, and
That'll be great to get out there, get these ground, get more experience into them, and then if we run similar to the last time, we'll still travel to Cheltenham.
I know you've got a huge amount of faith in him, and likewise with Dunvegan, who we've also seen this morning, a smashing looking big grey horse.
Yeah.
What's the latest state of play with him? Because I know you had to miss a race with Naas with him, the big grey one, because of the ground.
He's going to run the same day as Castlegrace Paddy in the novice hurl. It's 2 mile 6, and that's the plan with him. So hopefully we'll get him out as well.
And trip-wise, Pat, do you think he's a horse that's going to be even better when he steps up to longer distances?
Well, that's what we're always thinking. Like, he just stays galloping and galloping and galloping, and he's a brilliant galloper, and he just seems to love that. So I'd imagine that it's a trip is what he wants, and that he'll be a 3 miler over fences down the road. So we'll see how we get on then.
And we're just up the road here from Gowran Park on the eve of the Thyestes Chase. Just for those people that maybe aren't too familiar with this race, how big a deal is this for the local economy and the local people?
Well, we're looking forward to it every year. From once it's finished, it's the race. Somebody says the race stops the nation around here. Anyway, it's very important for the trainers. It's lovely for us to win it, the smaller trainer at least, And when I won it, I thought, nothing could have been better. And but also, you see the horse that do win it. They all go on and either win or placed in national. So it's very important. And I think I don't know whether the schools still close, but they used to close for Thyestes Day. That's as important a day as it used to be here anyway. And it's brilliant. And James Keogh doesn't complain either, because he does well out of it.
Based in Goresbridge, County Kilkenny, Connolly's Red Mills has been a leading manufacturer of equine, agricultural and pet foodstuffs for over 100 years. Owned and run by the Connolly family for 5 generations, the business enjoys a global reach. And their sales and marketing director, Gareth Connolly, gave us an insight into this hugely successful operation.
And when you think back at the history, there's 2 world wars, rural electrification, so there's quite a number of challenges when you think about what they went through, but one of the key difficulties that they had, and why we got into the equine side of it, was from a porridge point of view, as a staple diet from a human angle. They had invested heavily in a porridge oatlet plant. No sooner had they invested, and this was probably in the late 50s with my grandfather, basically convenience cereals kicked in. So who wanted to be boiling up porridge overnight and having oat groats in their teeth versus a splash of milk onto the equivalent of cornflakes and off they go? My grandfather would have been he fancied himself as a keen jockey, and had won a number of point-to-points locally. So he was very connected in that, and he and the late Paddy Mullins were schoolmates. And one day they were in a conversation around a particular horse which Paddy was finding they couldn't get to eat. My grandfather had this porridge oatlet plant. He had been reading a book about how to feed the horse, which I think was written by a British Army officer, and he said, well, sure, listen, leave it with me to see if we can cook up some product and put it together. Paddy used the product, the horse turned inside out and went on to win the Gold Cup and the
turned out to be a good horse, didn't it?
Yeah, Vulpine. So
Vulpine.
Yeah, which was really where the whole thing started off. And then from there, people said, "What is Vulpine on, and how did you manage to get him to run in so many different races?" And word of mouth really drove the piece on from there, and that's really how the whole thing started. So that was the first sort of muesli course mix back in the early 60s.
And we're here in the heart of County Kilkenny countryside in rural Ireland. That's a connection. I know the company itself has grown and grown from those small beginnings to the giant that it is today, but you're still kind of keen to maintain that association with rural Ireland, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a critical part. We're rooted in the countryside, in rural Ireland, and we rely so heavily on our local suppliers, which are our farmers. We have over 300 farmers who grow raw materials for us, and that's as far away as Cork, but as close as literally around the corner here for us in Kilkenny. We actually have our own seed plant, so we're one of the largest seed assemblers in the country. So we can actually take the produce from seed right the way through to finished product. And from our point of view, that's it's from farm to winning post.
And as you say there, manufacturing, everything takes place here, but also the research and development side of things, you've got your own laboratory on site, for example.
Yeah, our own laboratory is a critical part, and it plays a huge role in terms of the quality control, but also in terms of driving new product development and R&D. I think it's critical in terms of maintaining the rule book and the requirements around making sure products are right and the game is correctly managed. So for us, that was a key element to be able to stand over the produce. So that starts from when we take in the raw materials, and it also goes through in terms of the finished products. One of the key elements of that is naturally occurring prohibitive substances. So we test all our produce on the route in and on finished products to make sure that we are covering off that in terms of the quality of the product. And then we also have our own manufacturing of our premixes, so our vitamins and our minerals. And again, that's a key element to make sure that we are able to recover the raw materials that are going into the product and that are absolutely declared then on the product on the way out. So customers are 100% in the knowledge that we are doing everything in our power to make sure the products are accurate and right and do what they say on the tin. In terms of that R&D and new product development piece, that ties directly back in, and having control over manufacturing is a critical part of that, and being able to do that. We have, over the years, I suppose there hasn't been a year that there hasn't been some sort of a bolt-on or investment into either plant or equipment or new products or the lab, and that has helped us hone our offering, helped us hone the processes, and allowed us, I suppose, to develop and follow our customers. The reason why we are exporting to so many markets has been, through conversations and putting the horse at the center of everything that we do. And, our customers are saying, okay, we're looking to travel. We want to go to the UK. We started exporting to the UK in 1985. Okay, we're going further afield. We're going to Europe. We're now going to the Melbourne Cup. We're going to Japan. We're going to the States. Are you available? Can you get down there? And I suppose one of the key pieces for us on that was the likes of feeding the Melbourne Cup winners in Australia and being able to follow with the feed right the way down. And we take huge pride in being a part of the cog to see horses getting over the line and being winners, and let them be for foal in a stud basis through to that dream of the win. It's what keeps us going and driving the piece on.
And last year in particular was a great year for you, I know, on the world front. Just talking about race sponsorship as well, Gav, because I know there's a huge family association going back years with your local track here at Gowran Park. How important is that to you guys? Because I know Red Mills Day in particular, Thyestes Day is a huge day for the local people and the economy, but your day, Red Mills Day, is not too far behind either, I don't think, is it?
No, it's very close. Gowran is, for us, it's a fantastic resource to have on our doorstep. We've been sponsoring in Gowran Park for 39 years. I think we're one of the longest sponsors in the Irish game. For us, it's the sponsorship piece, and it's a key part of how we support the industry. We feel that we're a key stakeholder within it. We have a lot to offer, and it's our way of giving back by putting up the prizes. In terms of Gowran, my grandfather was a director in Gowran Park. My father is the current chairman, and we've seen huge strides. We'll see at the Thyestes Day. It's going to be a massive day. Like they say, it's a race day that stops the county. Absolutely is the case, and everybody's passionate about it. It's on the calendar in the diaries from way back. And then with the Red Mills Day following up very quickly after that, it's I would say in some cases used as a Valentine's excuse because it gets close to the 14th. But yeah, 16th of February, again, a great day. We've been very lucky in the past that it's been a sort of a precursor for what's gone on to Cheltenham, depending on ground and depending on different horses and a requirement for run. We're lucky to have some big horses running the Red Mills Day as well over the years. So, but for us, the sponsorship piece that it's a critical way, as I said, to give back to the industry, and we see it as a huge way of putting up the prize and letting our customers win. That has been borne out in the Red Mills EBF auction series, and also as part of the group, our foreign EBF auction series as well. And that has allowed us to spread the prize money and support grassroots and give an opportunity to maybe different trainers to have a chance of winning very decent prize money, giving owners an opportunity to get involved, let it be syndicates or alternative, but also from a trainer point of view to be able to say, okay, here's something I can actually aim at and really have a shot at and still get a very, very good return. It's not something that we've just started yesterday. As I said, we've been doing the Red Mills Days since for the last 39 years, but it's been how do we hone that piece and give back, and we'd like to think that we're getting that support, and we hope that people think of us in that way as well.
Just wanted to finish by touching on your new Red Mills store in Kilkenny. What was the thinking behind introducing that, and how has it been received so far?
Yeah, it's been super. Again, it's rooted back in rural Ireland. It's just on the outskirts of Kilkenny. I suppose what we wanted to do was offer a showcase in terms of our offering, and that covers obviously core is equine, but also the agri element, and then we have a pet side as well as our supplement side with foreigns. In terms of sort of theming the shop, we were able to look at it and say, well, actually, if I'm a professional on the equine side, or if I'm a hobbyist on the equine side, same with the agri, same with the pet, how can I come into a retail offering that's able to tick the boxes and have something, or a little bit of something for everybody? And the store has allowed us to connect the dots, have that whole, I suppose if you want to say that country attire into what people are doing, what's their passion. And no, we've been very fortunate. It's been really very, very positive, and again, it's further investment into the locality where we're based, and we're very proud of.
Just outside the village of Gowran in County Kilkenny, Gowran Park has been in operation as a dual-purpose racecourse since 1914 and hosts over a dozen race meetings annually, including the iconic Thyestes Chase Day. Red Mills Chief Executive Joe Connolly doubles up as chairman of Gowran Park, and he reflects on the progress made by this popular venue.
I think it's a very picturesque place. The track is super, and in fact, when you think about 1914 when they first raced here, I suppose they never thought that it would become one of the tracks in Ireland. And certainly, it's a very, very good. We can run this particular race, the Thyestes here today, as it's a major race, 3 miles 1 furlong, super challenge. And yes, we can do flat races in the summertime. We have evening meetings, and we can run those every couple of weeks, which gives an option as well. Thyestes is running since 1952, and it's been a major event, major start for the year. Third Thursday is set in stone in Kilkenny in the racing field, and it has been that day, and we daren't change that date because it's people just book it year to year and say, yes, we're going to Gowran on the third Thursday every year. When we were kids, in fact, there was no school on Thyestes Day. It was considered to be dangerous for all children, and at that time walking to school was the norm. And the interesting thing about it was that most of the teachers went to the races as well, so it wasn't something that was difficult to do.
The Goffs Thyestes Chase may have been the signature race on the card at Gowran Park, but in truth there was really only one horse that most racegoers had turned out to see. The Cheltenham Gold Cup favourite Presenting Percy, who was making a long-awaited first appearance of the season.
The race for the final flight in the John Mulhern Galmoy hurdle. It's Presenting Percy on the near side and Davy Russell. Pat Kelly Stable Star will lead in the final flight from Killon to Vic Lemony. The palm in between horses. Presenting Percy's not home yet. The palm Killon to Vic, but Presenting Percy will win his second John Mulhern Galmoy hurdle en route to another Cheltenham.
The horse must have been busting to get out there on the track after all the time he's been in training without running. He seemed good and fresh, but all the old enthusiasm was there, wasn't it, the old verb?
Yeah, that's right, but he's a bit of a pro. He's been around, you know, and he's been to the festival twice, obviously, and obviously he's trained by a very, very, very professional man in Pat Kelly, you know, and again, I suppose, you know, the owner has to get an awful lot of credit as well. Knowing, you know, you're getting itchy feet there just to run him, you know, you'd love to run him, but Anne and Philip obviously went along and trusted Pat.
Last year, of course, he went from here to the Red Mills Chase and then on to Cheltenham. It looks like a perfect stepping stone again. You'd be on side with that, I guess, would you?
Yeah, I'd imagine, you know, and I suppose he has a Stayers hurdle as an option now as well, you know, so
He ain't running in any Stayers hurdle, David.
no, but I suppose you could have the option, really, couldn't you, you know?
Run it twice.
No, well, I suppose, you know, in the festival, if the Gold Cup turned out to be very competitive, and maybe if he didn't get a run over fences, he has that option anyway, you know.
Yeah, it's great to see him back, and he got a terrific reception too. I think the crowd have really taken to this guy.
I think that's more so than anything, and obviously we're in the heart of it here, you know. Gowran touches maybe 4 or 5 counties, and they all seem to come and support Gowran in general, but this day especially, so it's very pleasing to ride a winner and to get a round of applause coming into the parade ring. He nearly got a round of applause leaving the parade ring as well, so, you know, and that's the beauty of National Hunt Racing, you know, we should be very proud of it as a country, really.
With a bumper crowd at Gowran Park on Thyestes Chase Day, it was no surprise to see the rails bookmakers doing a roaring trade. Among those being kept busy was County Louth-based layer Marcella McCoy.
To say it's the biggest day that Gowran have. In my, what I think anyway, to suggest it's the biggest day that Gowran have. It's an amazing day. The atmosphere is absolutely fantastic. To take the best horses really run on obviously the biggest days. Presenting ran the last race, ran a cracker of a race, and it's great to see him back now. I have 25 pitches between Northern Ireland and Ireland, and yeah, I'm absolutely loving it at the moment. Leopardstown was very good for the bookies, and great atmosphere. The crowds was up on last year, and turnover is up now. Turnover is up as well for the bookmakers. So as an overall, things is on uplift.
They're coming to the final fence now. Alfred is Oboe, challenged by invitation only on the near side. It's these two in the finish of the Golf Thyestes.
The feature race at Gowran Park, the Thyestes Chase, was once again sponsored by Goff's Bloodstock Sales. His chief executive, Henry Beebe, was on hand to present the winner's trophy to connections of invitation only.
I mean, the Thyestes is an iconic race. I mean, they call it the race that stops the county. It's the perfect time of year. It's perfectly positioned in the calendar. It's perfectly positioned in the country. At this time of the year, we're launching our Land Rover sale, and everybody comes to Gowran on Thyestes Day. It's a wonderful day out. We see a lot of friends, a lot of clients, a lot of clients, a lot of friends, because happily the two are one and the same in many, many cases. So it's the ideal time of the year in the right place at the right time. It's a race you aspire to win. We had 2 or 3 horses that have been through our sales ring in today's race, sadly not the winner. But yeah, the most famous racehorse of all, the most famous jumper of all, Arkle, is a former Goffs graduate who won the Thyestes, which speaks for itself. I knew today was going to be a good day because this is the 9th year we've sponsored the Thyestes, and I've never had to queue back into Gowran village or town to get to the racecourse. So I knew there was going to be a good crowd, and it's horses like that that are drawing people here, but it's an iconic day. And I think the wonderful thing that Thyestes has maintained, has been a good idea, is to stay midweek. So many of the big races, big sporting occasions are the weekend, but the Thyestes has stayed midweek, and I think people take a view that they're going to just have a day off work and go down or across or up, wherever they're coming from, to Gowran for Thyestes Day, and I think it's wonderful to see. As sponsors, they can't do enough for us. I mean, it's almost embarrassing how well they look after us, and I love coming here. I've been coming to Gowran for many, many years. There used to be a point-to-point. We used to sponsor it as well, came here. We sponsored bumpers in the past. It's a wonderful racecourse, populated by wonderful people, and they deserve all their success.
That's all we have time for on this week's show. A special word of thanks to all the team at Connolly's Red Mills, trainer Pat Fahy, and everyone here at Gowran Park. We'll see you next time on This Racing Life.